Hi, I'm Scratch, and today I'm going to be giving you a tour of my Satisfactory save that has taken me over 100 real-life days to build. You heard that right, not 100 in-game days, but real-life days. And that's all on this one save. I have to make a quick note that I have deleted and rebuilt a lot in this save, so not everything that I've built is still here. And also, this save is 100% vanilla. I have used no mods to create anything you see here. And I'll be releasing the save with this video for you to download. So stick around till the end to find out how to do that. One thing to note is that this save is not finished, and that shows in many areas. But I'm moving on and starting a new save for 1.0. This save is massive, but I think the best place to start is with how I power it. So I had a coal plant and a different fuel plant that are no longer here, as they've both been replaced with this fuel power plant that produces over 60,000 megawatts of power. This is the first mega project I ever finished, and it was a difficult one. I love how it turned out with the tower in the middle and the round towers at the back, but it was a nightmare to get the fuel circulating properly and getting all the fuel generators running properly. This build also produces 780 rubber and plastic per minute from the byproduct of polymer resin, and about 200 packaged fuel per minute. This is my second power plant, and I've made a full video going over this build, so I'll link to that if you want all the details. Check it out. I based it off an image I found online, and it's the first time I've tried to replicate something like that. I'm super happy with how close it looks, but I've obviously changed it up a bit and added my own touches to make it mine. Next up, we're going to have a look at all the feeder factories that I have dotted around this world. This factory makes 3,120 iron ingots per minute, and I am currently using about half of that. In a lot of the factories I'm producing way more than I need, as I was planning for late game factories. As for the design, I've talked about it more in this video, along with a few other factories, so check it out if you want to see more of that aspect of this build. This is another overproducing factory that makes 3,200 copper ingots per minute, and again I'm only using about half of that. Again, I talk more about the design of this factory in the same video as the iron one, so check that out for more info. This build makes 3,200 concrete per minute, and again I'm hardly using any of it. I think this is one of my favourite factory exteriors I've built. I like these lifts coming up in this side balcony area, and I like how well it fits into this part of the map. I have 3 main steel factories, so I thought I'd put them all into one segment. In total, they are making around 3,900 steel ingots per minute, and I'm using every last scrap of it. We'll start with the smallest size-wise. It has 2 lines, one producing 270 and the other producing 630 steel ingots per minute. It was a pretty quick and simple build, as by this point I'd done 2 other steel builds and was a bit over it, to be honest, but it's clean and it does the job. The second biggest is making 900 ingots per minute, and I was never really happy with how it turned out. I like some of the elements, like this section with the lifts and this bit of the roof, but I don't think it looks very cohesive. When you're experimenting with lots of different styles and techniques, some of those experiments are going to turn out better than others. The last of the 3 is this facility that is making 3,000 ingots per minute. I really like the wall design for this one, but I also think the road system fell short, as I don't think the build is big enough to justify it. I learned a lot, and we'll see a build later that takes that and improves on it massively. I have 2 Caterium factories, and they both make 600 Caterium ingots per minute. This first one, I was experimenting with trying to use rounded shapes that cut into the building. And although I like how it turned out, I don't think it was 100% successful, as I think the dark colouring hides it too much. I tried to use strips of colour and rounded shapes on top to highlight it, but I don't think it works. I still like it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, but I think I'll revisit the idea again in future to see if I can make it stand out more. The second Caterium factory is one of my favourite builds. I love how the wall design on the sides turned out, as well as these corridors on the inside, and the control room and layout of the main factory floor. The only critique I have of it is the far end just kind of ends. I wish I'd done something more interesting with it. This is the first of my 2 aluminium factories, and it produces 1020 ingots per minute. And again, I'm happy with parts of this factory. I like this pipe spiral and this lighting on the outside. But it didn't really achieve what I planned. I wanted to make the factory look like it wound its way around the trees and was supported by them. It doesn't really look like that, but it was early in my building career and I've progressed a lot since then. The second of my aluminium factories is one of my pride and joys of this save. I really built on the idea of having a road system that I tried with my main steel factory, and I realised that if I had a road system, I should have something using it. So that led me to building this main truck stop and these 3 smaller ones that bring all the raw bauxite into the build. I think I managed to give this build a unique style, and I really enjoyed adding all the little details that bring it to life, which I have a video about, which I'll link to in the cards. This build produces 945 quartz crystal per minute and is definitely another of my favourite builds. I set out to make it feel like a unified building by clipping both the refineries and the train station into the walls and foundations, and I think I achieved what I set out to do. I also love the lighting and the bus that brings in the main resources. This was one of my first factories that I built with aesthetics in mind that still survives on the map today, and I think it still holds up. It produces 945 silica per minute and is clean and has some interesting design features, like this bus that runs along the roof and then down the rounded side of the building past the sink. This is the final factory that I completed in this save, and it produces 400 batteries per minute. I've always liked the idea of not just building one factory, but a complex of smaller ones, and this build was made with that in mind. I knew it would be a big job, so I kept the styling simple but clean. This helped make it feel like a large complex rather than a lot of spread out buildings. I've also got a video on how to develop style for a build that will focus around this factory coming soon, so subscribe to get notified when that comes out. As I've said, this save is not finished, so I thought I'd take a sec to talk about what's missing. You've probably noticed that the train lines in this save are a mess. I'd planned to tidy them up and maybe redo all of them together, but I've not had time. I've learnt a lot from building the rail network in this save, and my 1.0 network will be a marked improvement. I'd also planned to build a massive space elevator parts factory in the desert, hence why I haven't taken many resources from here. It would have produced 10 per minute of each of the final space elevator parts. I won't talk about the plan for how it would have looked, as I'm going to use this idea for 1.0. I promised I'd give you guys the save, and I'm true to my word. I've started a Discord, and if you go join and head to the save download section, you can download the save. I'll also try and put all the blueprints in another channel so you can use them in your world if you want. At the moment the Discord is a bit basic, but I've started it just to share the save. I'll work on it more and add to it as the channel grows. Which, by the way, I'm hoping to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far and want to see what I make in 1.0, please hit the sub button. Talking about unfinished things, this is my mega factory. It makes every part you could need to build with to fill this central storage, and has taken me probably nearly 1,000 hours to build. Although the production lines in it are finished, it needs a lot more work to finish the design and aesthetics. To be honest, that could have taken me another 1,000 hours. So I've decided to call it on this save and start fresh for 1.0. If you want to see a more in-depth look at this build, check out this video, where I walk through it and talk about what I've learnt and what I'll be taking to 1.0. I've been Scratch, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.